say that you're proud of yourself. You can absolutely say that you are a 10 out of 10 mum and that you are proud of the mum that you are and the kids that you're raising. Oh my gosh, guys, I am so happy to be sat here talking to you today. Honestly, if there's one thing that I just love about this podcast is I can just come here and just tell you about my week and how I'm feeling. And if there's something that is just in me to talk about today, it's just being a super mum. Because let me tell you a story about what happened this week and why I realized, do you know what? We need to just stop comparing. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's one thing that I have noticed in being a mum is that we just constantly, or at least I do anyway, compare, like relationships, kids, image, cars even. Like the other day I was like, how have they got that car when they've got that many children? Like, how do they fit in? Why can't I do that? You know, like, so stupid, isn't it? Like, when you actually deep it is so ridiculous and so stupid. But I just wanted to come on and talk about that a little bit today because I've got a story, right, where I literally kept myself in check this week, like literally this week. So anyway, my son, he's just started school. We're getting used to the morning routine because before Sol was in school, we were very much a family where we would just rise and shine when the kids would. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't really matter when they were in nursery. Both my husband and I run our own businesses, so we never had to be at the office by a certain time. It was always just we just woke up and just decided to start the day, when the kids did, really. And not to say that, we're out here starting the day at 10:30. No, but it was not out of the ordinary to drop our kids off at 9:15 and start our day at 9:30. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? So at the moment, I am learning what it's like to do the school run, okay? We've been doing this for a few weeks now, but I'm getting there. I am getting there. I haven't been late yet. Maybe once. I was late once because, again, I'm adjusting to the traffic. But this is where I'm at, okay? I am learning how to do the school run, be there on time, etc., etc. So this week, I'm solo parenting, which means this is all on me. And my kids have been starting getting up at 6:15, but mama's not ready to rise at that point. So I have been, letting them play on the iPads until I'm ready to wake up. Don't come for me, but genuinely that extra 30 minutes that I get in the morning is essential for me to be able to function, okay? But this particular day, I was not mumming, if that makes sense. I rolled out of bed, got the kids ready. They were lucky if they were even wearing the same pair of shoes this day. I was so tired. I am in the pit of solo parenting. Like, when you're solo parenting, you're waking up. You are mum from the second you open your eyes to the minute you go to sleep. During the day when they're not with you and they're in school, you're working, right? And then when they go to sleep at night, you've got a whole house to clean. You've got yourself to feed. There is so much to think about when you are solo parenting. So shout out to the single mums out there and the single parents out there. I actually don't know how you do it because I only do it on the rare occasion that my husband's away. And when he comes back, I feel like I need a 2-week holiday to recover. Okay? So anyway, that is the scene of me when I am solo parenting. But basically, this particular morning, like I said, I was so tired, okay? Because again, the smart thing to do would be to go to bed at a reasonable time in the evening. But I just don't. I need my me time. So even if it's 11 o'clock that I finished all my chores, because again, I can't go to sleep if the house is a mess. If I finished all of my chores and my to-do list by 11 p.m., I will then think that I need to, unwind, which looks like scrolling on TikTok or Instagram Reels until, 12:15. So I didn't really set myself up on this particular day to, be a super mum, okay, who had her ish together, looking good. So we wake up, sort the kids out, they had breakfast. But like I said, I was exhausted, okay? And I threw a hat on, I threw my sweats on, and I took the kids to school. Dropped Solomon off, dropped Saint off, because I dropped him off second at nursery, and there's this mum in front of me. And when she got out the car, She had her hair slicked back in a perfect bun. Her face was immaculate. She looked like she'd had a solid 12 hours sleep and she was glowing. Like she was glowing, okay? She was wearing, athleisure. They were probably Lululemon leggings, okay? This is the level of, I've got my ish together that this mum had. She was wearing a long puffer coat, puffer gilet, maybe, I don't know, but it looked good. She had trainers on that were like brand new out of the box, and she looked great. And there I was, sat behind her, and I was thinking, and I bet her car is squeaky clean as well. Like she was there in like a really nice car, and I thought, wow. Like, when you're just looking at something and you think, wow, like, are you real life? Like, is this real? So anyway, I was sat in my car, which by the way is disgusting. Like, I am not a clean car person. I feel like you're either a clean home or a clean car person. I don't think you got both. I am not a clean car person. If you ever see my car, there is probably so much McDonald's in there from the kids, food everywhere from the kids, crisp packets, leftovers, like 5 million coffee cups. Like, this is my car. I will maybe show you one day, but it's so disgusting. But anyway, and I'm sat there in my dirty, disgusting car, dressed the way I am, like literally threw on whatever the heck I could find, wearing a cap, almost like looking like that guy from You, that Netflix series, like looking like I don't want anybody to see me. And I'm watching her get out the car. She takes her kid out the car, hands her kid to nursery. And I remember having this thought of, what do I need to do and what do I need to change in my life that I can look like that at 8:30 in the morning? Like, what is she doing that I am not doing? Like, and I remember feeling really not bad about myself, but really deflated that day over like me as a mum. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like I haven't got my ish together. Like, here I am rolling out of bed, taking my kids to, school. And there's other mums out here that are looking like that and like thriving. And I bet like her house is tidy. And I bet that, she's going to go to work today and have a great day and come home and be perfect. And I was sat in the car and that's exactly what I was thinking was, what do I need to change in my life? Or what do I need to do in my life that is going to make me be a mum like her because she looks great, The next day, I had a much better day, guys. I had a much better day. I got myself up early. Call it inspo from the day before. I don't know. I got up early. I took a shower before the kids woke up, or at least when they were in their screen time session. All right. I got up, got myself ready, put some makeup on. I chucked on my Adanola leggings. All right. They weren't Lululemon. I don't own a pair of them. I don't know if I ever will because I don't think I could ever justify that price tag. But anyway, Adanola, I do love. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I felt great. I was wearing a set. I had trainers on, like, my hair was still in the mum bun, okay, messy on the top of my head, but I felt more put together. I had a bit of makeup on and I felt good. I even had breakfast before the school run. Like, this was a huge moment for me. You know what I mean? So anyway, I dropped my kids off at school and I, handed the kids over to nursery and I was driving home. And I felt so different that day to what I'd done the day before, where I was literally dressed like I had rolled out of bed. And I just remember thinking like, wow, what a contrast, like how I'm feeling today and how I'm looking today to what I looked yesterday. And then I had this realization. I saw that woman the day before and I let my perception of her and my perception of what her life must be like because of what she looks like, I let that affect me, my confidence, my belief in myself, and ultimately the way I was feeling that day because of what I thought, which could be all wrong. And I realized like, oh my gosh, like if somebody would have seen me today, they would think, if they were looking at me like I was looking at the other girl yesterday, they would think, oh, she's got her life together. She's having a great week, and have all of these misconceptions and preconceived ideas over me in my life and not looking at me thinking, oh my gosh, she is drowning in solo parenting this week like I looked yesterday. Do you know what I mean? And I just was thinking like how crazy it is that as mums and as women, we are so quick to build these stories and build these narratives over information that we actually do not have and things that we actually do not know. And I was thinking, like, with that mum that I'd seen and built this whole life for, that could be the first day this year that she looks like that. She might not have even been the mum. She could have even been the auntie that is filling in for that day, like my sisters sometimes do when they help me out when I'm working away. She could have been the auntie. And I am building this whole story over how she's a super mum and she might not have even been the child's mum. Like, do you know what I mean? And this is something that I do so often. And I know that so many other people do because I see it all the time on social media where we literally just compare life to life. And we just can't be doing that because we just don't know the facts. And like, when I was looking at her, like the whole thing that I'd built up in my head of, what do I need to do to look like that? And what do I need to change in my life to be like that? Like I said, that could be the only day that year that she has looked like this and felt like this. Just like in my week, I have some days where I feel 10 out of 10 and other days where I am barely peeling myself out of bed. Like, that is just the journey of life and being a mum is some days you feel like you are on top of the world and killing motherhood. And other days, motherhood is just killing you a little bit. And we just do, don't we, compare and think, what am I doing wrong or what am I doing differently that makes me less of a person? And I just want to say, like, my capacity is my capacity and your capacity is your capacity. And what we absolutely cannot be out here doing is comparing what one mum is doing or one person is doing based on what we're doing. Because if we were doing that, then we would just constantly be trying to measure up to something that we might not ever be able to reach or then attain because we just have different capacities. In the same way that there's some people that have one child because that's what they want. There's others that have 6. And I see these mums with 6 kids and I think, how do you wash your hair? Because I can only just do this with 2. Like, you know what I mean? And this is what I'm trying to say. Like, some people's dreams and desires and capacities are so different to ours. And we just cannot compare one mum to another. We cannot compare one day to another. Some days I wake up and I feel like I have got this. Other days I don't. Like, I'll be honest, there are some days where, and it's good that I work from home because I can do this, but there's some days where I will literally take myself back to bed at 3 p.m. because my motivation is on the floor. I can't do it and I'll just go and rest. But this isn't the stuff that I will post about. This isn't the stuff that I will say, oh yeah, look at me. I've just had the most unproductive day ever and I've just laid in bed watching TV because I'm on my period and I feel like crap. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the stuff that people tend to post about. And we also have to bear that in mind is that, especially with social media and things, like, we're only ever going to see the best version of people, or at least a filtered version that they want to present. Even the people that are out here showing, all elements of their life, they're not showing all elements of their life. You know what I mean? We only see small clips of people's days and not everything. And I think we so have to bear that in mind. And even when we come to seeing people on the day to day, you just never know what people are going through. Like that mum that I'd seen and built this whole idea around, I didn't know what she was going through that day. I didn't know if she was going through a really tough divorce. And that was the first day that she felt good enough to get out of bed and even take her child to nursery. And so she wanted to feel good and put a bit of makeup on. Like, I didn't know. I didn't know if this was the first day that she might have had a newborn. And this is the first day that she's actually so happy to be able to take her son to nursery again because she's been in this newborn bubble, like child glued to her boob for the last 4 weeks. Like, you just don't know. Like, you don't know. You are absolutely doing your best. You are absolutely a super mum. I was having a conversation the other day with my friend who genuinely asked me, like, how do you do it all? Because she's in a similar situation to me in that she does a lot of solo parenting. And, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but she was just like, how do you do it? Like, just genuinely asking friend to friend. And I said this to her and I had to check myself afterwards because I thought as if I actually said that. But then I realized, but this is what I actually do. Like on the days that I feel like I can't do this, I literally tell myself, I am a freaking super mum and I would not be given anything that I cannot handle. These are my kids. This is my life. I am going to take the reins on this and I'm going to handle this. You know what I mean? Like, that is literally what I tell myself. And when I said that to her, I was like in my head thinking, you sound so ridiculous right now. You sound like an absolute joke. The fact that you literally give yourself a pep talk telling yourself that you are the best mum in the world. But I feel like that is literally what helps me. And I think it's genuinely a really good way to just capture your thoughts, because I get those days too where I feel like I am a really bad mum. There have been instances where I've been putting one of my kids to sleep and the other one has fallen asleep on the couch. And I'm like, I am such a bad mum that I didn't give both of my kids the bedtime that they deserved that day, which is so ridiculous because at the same time, I'm a great mum to be able to create an environment where my kids feel safe enough to fall asleep by themselves on the couch. Like that they feel, comfortable enough to be able to do that and that they don't feel like they need me to go to sleep. Don't get me wrong. I love putting my kids to bed and it is something I will always, always, always want to do until they no longer want me to. But it's just that thing, isn't it, of having perspective. And I think that's what we sometimes lose as mums, is that perspective that we are doing a flipping fantastic job. Like, if there's anything you need to hear today, it is that we are doing a really, really good job, because it's so hard being a mum. There is not only, like, when you're a mum, there's not only that dependency you have on the kids, but like there's maintaining your home. If you're working, there's maintaining your job. There's friendships you've got to think about, relationships with your partner, dating. If you haven't got your partner, like navigating your own love life, what's fulfilling you, like having a hobby for yourself. There's so much to think about whilst still keeping the house clean and running the kids around. And what clubs are they doing? How are they developing? How are they growing? Have they grown out of their clothes yet? Like, there is so much to think about when you're being a mum. And I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough grace. Like, we don't cut ourselves enough slack. And I think, like I said, I had this day this week where I looked at this mum and built this whole narrative, and I left there feeling like I'm not as good as a mum of her because I don't look a certain way when I drop my kids off at school. Like, how ridiculous is that? But also, how easy is it for us to fall into that trap of, low self-esteem, self-doubt, questioning our own abilities over something that might not even be true because we don't know the full picture. So yeah, I found myself really comparing this week, and I guess I just want to come on and just voice it, because I think we all want to be the super mum. We all want to be the best mum we can be, not only for ourselves and like to be like, look back and be like, I did a good job. Like, I hope that when my kids are older, I look back at, what I've done in my parenting and go, I did the best I could. Like, I did really well there. Like, I hope that I raise children that, want to stick around with their mum when they're like off and married and got lives of their own. Like, I want to raise kids that are driven and want to achieve things and want the best out of life. Like, there's things that naturally I want as a mum that I am doing now in my motherhood and in my parenting to try and get them there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you do try your best. And I heard a quote the other day and it stayed with me so much, because I was like reading it, and I say reading it was probably on TikTok. Like everyone says that these days, don't they? Everyone's like, oh, I read a quote. No, you didn't. You didn't pick up a book, honey. You saw it on TikTok. You saw it on the reels. Let's be honest. But literally, like, I don't know where I saw this, but I remember seeing it, probably Instagram. And the phrase was, if your capacity of the day is 50% and you're giving your all, that actually you're giving 100%. Basically saying, again, like this whole thing of filling your cup, it's basically saying if your cup's not full and you're still giving your 100%, you're still giving your all. You are still giving from that overflow because that's all the capacity that you have for that day. And I think we really need to take that into account when we are looking at ourselves and thinking of this whole concept of, super mum, got it all together. Like, we are just doing our best. We are giving 100% every day. And some days that 100% goes a little bit further. Some days our cups are a lot fuller. And other days, heck, we're running on empty. But we are just out here doing our very best. And at the end of the day, when all is said and done, like, I remember my mum used to say this, like, I hated school. Like, I'm not going to lie, I hated school. The worst time. Those of you that look back and say school was the best days of your life, that is not true for me. Like, I did not enjoy school, okay? Like, I went to school for the social occasion. I was that person. Like, that was why I went to school. I was not interested in exams. I was not interested in doing well. Like, I didn't do too bad, but this was just not, you know what I mean? Anyway. And I remember exam time, my mum would be like, well, as long as you've given your best, like, that is the best that you can do. And like in exams, like, I remember once in my business exam in A-level, I actually got a U because I did nothing. Like, I did no studying and I literally got a U. I have never ever done such a bad grade in my life, but I literally had a U. And I don't know where you're listening from, but U in the UK basically means unclassified. Basically means I didn't even get enough points to even get a grade. Like, this is where I was at, okay? And even then, like, my mum was like, well, if you didn't revise and you still did your best, then that's what you're going to get. Like, do you know what I mean? I think that's also so true for like my time now being a mum. I am giving my 100%. Like, I am doing my best. I am looking at other people's parenting and thinking, what do I like about that? What do I not like about that? I look at the way my parents raised me and I think, what do I love that they did? What do I not love that they did? And what am I going to do differently? I look at my friends and the way that they parent and I think, do I want to do something like that? Like, or do I not? And I think it's absolutely fine to look at people around us and have people that we follow and have people that are in our lives that we think, I'm going to do that because I like the way that that's done. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that is absolutely fine and necessary because by myself, I don't have all the answers. And I do look to a lot of different people for counsel and wisdom and advice and, to check myself. I think it's good to have people that you can do that with or people that you follow, that you admire, and you can go, oh, I really love that about them. Like, I have families that I see on social media and I think, oh, I absolutely want to have that. Like, I think it's good to have people to look to and role models as long as we don't get to the place where we are thinking less of ourselves when we're looking at them. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a really fine line. And anyway, a lot of us mums do experience comparison, and it's a saying, okay, that comparison is a thief of joy. And I think that's so true because if you're like comparing to everybody, you're actually robbing yourself from the joy of what you're doing and the joy of the success that you're having. And I said it again on my Instagram this week and someone replied being like, oh wow, I've actually never heard that before, where I said, I'm proud of myself. And I just want to say to you today and encourage you today to actually say that, like, say that you're proud of yourself. You can absolutely say that you are a 10 out of 10 mum and that you are proud of the mum that you are and the kids that you're raising. Like, I have no issues with saying that. And I have no issues with other people saying that because to me, you are doing everything that you can in the capacity and the life that you have to give your kids. You are giving your absolute best. And I think that it's about time that us mums started being a lot more proud of what we're doing. Just as much as we're shaping their childhood and we're experiencing their childhood and them growing up, this is also our experience of motherhood. Just as much as these are the days that they will never relive, these are the days that we are never going to relive either. And I would hate for us to be missing out on such special, happy, joyful moments because we're so caught up in our own heads and our own thoughts over, are we doing a good job? And am I being as good as anybody else? No. Let's not be those people. Let's be those mums that literally love our kids, love ourselves, love what we're doing, stay in our own lane. Yes, look to the left and the right and around for like inspiration, but let's not compare. Like, let's just stop doing that. Being that super mum is totally achievable if we just back ourselves and think, I flipping am a super mum. I am doing hell of a lot. Like, if you actually sit back and look at everything that you are doing, raising kids, having a job, if that's what you have, and if you are a stay-at-home mum, the fact that you have given up to raise your kids, well done you. Like, if you are a wife, if you are not a wife and you're a partner or you're single, well done you. Like, you're doing this on your own, or well done you. You're maintaining a relationship. Like, when you sit back and look at everything that you are doing alongside raising kids that are one day going to be adults, like, you're doing amazing. You are doing a really good job. So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from today's little episode over here on Normal Mum, where we're talking about, this whole super mum being a myth thing, it's not a myth. You are the super mum. You 100% are. Stop comparing yourself to anybody else because you don't know the full picture, and just look at what you're doing. Because I had that reality check this week and it changed the way that I thought about my week and thought about my day. Like, I literally kid you not, it transformed everything when I was like, oh my gosh, I literally, like, the contrast of those 2 days, like, I was like, I am that mum today. Like, but I am that mum every day, depending on my capacity and where I'm at. So yeah, call this a little bit of a inspirational episode today if you want it to be, or just call it a little bit of a reality check, because the reality is every single person that you meet has got their own ish that's going on in their life, and you can't compare and you can't look at them and think anything other than good for you, because what they're doing is what they're doing and what you're doing is what you're doing, and you're doing a freaking amazing job. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for listening to my little rant of the week. If you can call it that, I don't know. Call it an inspirational episode if you want to, or a little bit of a kick up the backside that sometimes we need as mums, you know what I mean? But anyway, thank you so much for being here and listening to this podcast. As always, subscribe, follow, share this with another mum that you think needs to hear that they're doing a freaking fantastic job. And I will see you again on another episode. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.